Hi everyone. Anxiety is a bit of a nasty condition. It gets you to think and behave in ways that perpetuates the anxiety and actually makes you feel even more anxious. And oftentimes, the anxiety will lie to you and get you to believe things that are untrue as a way of keeping the anxiety going. So in today's video, we're going to be continuing our video series focused on health anxiety. And I'm going to be talking about 6 lies that health anxiety is telling you that's causing you to worry so much about your health. Now, in a previous video, I talked about one of the skills that people can use to break the health anxiety spiral. Essentially, what happens in health anxiety is that people are anxious about a particular physical symptom or sensation. And as a result, the anxiety gets them to focus more on that physical sensation. And the more they focus on that physical sensation, the more intense the physical sensation gets, which causes them to feel even more anxious and sets into motion the health anxiety spiral. Now, one of the ways to break this spiral is to redirect your attention and focus when you catch yourself worrying excessively about your health or when you're ruminating about a particular physical sensation. And if you want to learn more about tools to help you redirect your focus of attention, I'd encourage you to check out that video, which I'll link to up above. But one of the big barriers that can often get in the way of this focus of attention training relates to lies that health anxiety will tell you about whether you should be focusing and paying attention to the feared physical sensations in the first place. In other words, if I think that paying attention to my physical sensations and the physical symptoms is actually helping me, then I'm more likely to do it. If paying attention to the physical symptoms is keeping me safe, then it would be irresponsible for me to not focus on those physical symptoms. And that's exactly what health anxiety wants you to do. And it will lie to you to get you to keep focusing on those physical sensations. So, with that background, here are 6 lies that health anxiety will get you to believe about the importance of paying attention to those feared physical sensations. So the first belief, the first lie, is that the act of focusing on my health symptoms allows me to determine their level of severity and potential danger. By paying attention to my health symptoms, I'm assessing how dangerous they are. It allows me to be aware of what's going on in my body and to be aware of whether or not things are changing and potentially getting worse. Belief number 2, focusing on my body ensures that I'm going to detect problems earlier on. If I'm constantly checking my skin for signs of moles or bumps or changes, then I'm more likely to notice problems earlier on. And if I can detect the problem earlier on, I have a greater chance of potential treatments working, and that will help me survive. Belief 3, by worrying about my health, I'm preparing myself for any possible outcome. In other words, focusing on the possibility of health problems helps me to prepare, and I get myself ready in case I ever do experience a significant health problem. It's kind of like the old Boy Scouts motto, always be prepared. In this case, by worrying about my health and focusing my attention on my health and physical symptoms, I'm preparing myself for anything that might come. Belief 4, if I don't pay close attention to physical symptoms, I'm tempting fate. It's almost like I'm viewing myself as extremely fragile or at risk, and so if I'm not paying close attention to what's going on in my body, it's almost like I'm rolling the dice, and it's only a matter of time before something bad happens. Another way of thinking about this is it's almost like I shouldn't get too cocky or overconfident about my health. Otherwise, the universe may smack me with a serious disease because I wasn't paying enough attention. Belief number 5, by worrying and focusing on the symptoms, it helps ward off the illness and disease. Now, this one has a little bit of a superstitious flavor to it. With this belief, the act of worrying, the act of attending to the physical sensations in and of themselves prevents bad things from happening. As long as I'm focusing on the symptoms, as long as I'm worrying about my health, nothing bad is going to happen to me. And finally, belief 6, my health worries will help me solve health problems. The idea is that because I'm worrying so much about my health, because I'm thinking about it so much, it allows me to come up with solutions if I ever do experience health problems. I'm not caught off guard because it's almost like I planned ahead for the health problems. So I'm ready to deal with them when they arrive. Now, do you hold any of those beliefs, even to a small degree? Do you see any positive benefit from worrying about your health or focusing on feared physical sensations? Because if you do, these beliefs are going to get you to continue worrying about your health and to continue focusing on those physical sensations, which just causes you to feel even more anxious. If it's true that health worries and focusing your attention on physical symptoms actually does all of these things, if it helps you solve health problems, if it helps you prevent illness and disease, if it prepares you for possible outcomes, if it helps you detect problems earlier on, and if it prevents you from getting too overconfident about your health, if your health worries did all of these things, it makes sense to continue worrying about your health and to continue focusing on your physical symptoms. And so it becomes really important that if you hold any of these positive beliefs about focusing on your physical symptoms or your health worries, that you need to challenge these beliefs first. Because these beliefs are telling you that your health worries and your symptom focus is helpful and protective, even if it isn't. So, how can you challenge? How can you evaluate and dissect whether or not these health beliefs are actually true? To do this, I get my clients to ask themselves a series of questions. And the first question is, what exactly is the positive belief that I hold about my health worries or the potential benefits of maintaining my focus on my physical symptoms? For example, I might hold the belief that focusing on my physical symptoms, it helps me determine how severe the symptoms are and how much danger I'm actually in. That's the positive belief that I need to challenge. So once I've identified that, the next question is to ask, what is the goal of focusing my attention on these health symptoms? Is focusing my attention really helping me determine how severe the symptoms are and how much danger I'm actually in? How exactly does it protect me? If I was diagnosed with a health problem tomorrow, did focusing on the symptoms or worrying about my health actually prepare me and protect me in any way? Now, once I've thought about that, the next set of questions relate to what are the negative consequences of focusing my attention on these health symptoms and worries? Essentially, what are the costs associated with this focusing and worry behavior? Does it increase the intensity of the physical sensations that I'm worrying about? Does it cause me to feel more anxious? Am I so preoccupied with one physical symptoms that I might be missing out on others that might be more dangerous? How do I decide what I need to focus on? If your best friend was in the same situation that you're in and they were worrying about their health and focusing their attention on a particular physical symptom, would you encourage them to continue doing that? What would you say to your friend in that situation? Why wouldn't you encourage them to continue focusing on the sensations? And so, once you've gone through some of those questions and chipped away at the validity of these beliefs, what you want to ask yourself is, what do I take away from this? What are my conclusions about how beneficial or positive it is for me to continue focusing my attention on these physical sensations? Or what is the benefit of continuing to worry so much about them? And if you do this, what you'll probably find is that focusing so much attention on these physical symptoms comes with a lot more negatives than positives. And once you come to that conclusion, it makes it a lot easier to then work on some of those attention focusing skills that I talked about in the previous video. And if you want to learn more about other ways of shifting your attention away from health worries and breaking the health anxiety spiral, I encourage you to check out this video. So that's all for today's video. As always, thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one.